Assalamu alaikum and welcome to
There
Mad
you go.
Lukes. My name is Sim. Along with me are my wonderful co-hosts, Mort, the fabulous host of Muzzy Buzz, and our wonderful Sheikh ul Hind, the blue-eyed devil himself, Sheikh Ahmed Al Saeed, here for the swearing-in ceremony of the next president of the United States of America.
I get it. Blue. He wanted to say blue because he's wearing
Donald
red.
J. Trump, 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 Trump,
Oh
Trump,
my
Trump.
God.
No, I don't know. It looks like it's gonna be
Gordy,
Trump,
you
man.
know
I think
people-
it's gonna be Trump.
Bro, it's not even a doubt in my mind. No, it is. I do have a doubt, but
I mean, I know it's not because I mean, subconsciously, you're wearing red. I'm wearing red. You know, there's like a red kind of background. You know, I don't know. I just maybe it's just a red day. Or maybe the Crimson Tide is coming. I don't know. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? So wait, right now,
Malik says boycott Mort.
Uh-oh.
Mort was like.
well, actually, no, it wasn't actually me. I was in the studio, but apparently
you have that
they
sleepy face on
confused
right
whether
now.
we would be in the studio.
You have that sleepy face, bro. You can't hide
Yeah,
it.
there was a confusion about whether we're gonna be in the studio or if we were gonna be doing it remotely. So I think there was a little bit of
He's like,
yeah.
I love you, Morty. You just completely ignored what
know.
I had to say.
Don't tell him you love it. He's going to feel
I
uncomfortable.
know. That's I tend to do that. I tend
Now,
to do that, but it's okay.
Maheen, Dr. Sabil is commenting and saying, no Maheen tonight.
No, Maheen actually went to go attend. No, he went to go attend the Republican ceremony today. Oh no, is that what he told you? I think he was just being shy, but he told me he's gonna go attend some Republican ceremony today. So they're gonna be doing it in person. So that's kind of what's happening. So maybe he might just came up live from a Republican convention center. So let's see what happens. But anyways, you guys think why would I make a trip to Canada, dude? Okay, with all due respect, guys, no matter even if Iblis was president of America, I still would stay in America. Just letting you guys know that.
The gel was.
Yeah.
Was
You
the
know why?
American
Because
president-
yeah. You know why? Because our taxes would still be low. That's why. Okay. At the end of the day, we
At
want
the
low
end of the
taxes.
day, red, white, and blue, man. Every of one of those who hate America, they all would choose America over any other country in the world. You know
I think they
it.
would.
We all know it.
I think they would.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Okay.
there's not so much to talk about related to
Blue wall has
tonight,
fallen.
just getting started. What was
Yeah,
that?
so you know, I'm just gonna do a quick switch over to the stream. Just look at CNN real quick. It looks like let's just pull this in right now. It
Is
looks
that live?
like yeah,
Whoa, the
it
whole
looks like
country's red,
that
Mark.
in Georgia. Yeah, but 89, 72 right now. Biden's up electoral college. This is Georgia. We're expecting him to win Georgia, but it's close. 49.6. Ohio is 51.2 to 47.4. Yeah, what's up?
Morty, is this not live? Sheikh Hammer's
That's
concerned.
not live.
It is live. What the hell are you talking about? Why wouldn't it be live?
These are older stats.
What, you memorize the stats here, Sheikh?
Oh, are they old stats? How do you know old stats?
Before I came
Yeah,
in here.
what the hell are you talking about?
It's like from like 15,
Oh, you know,
20
here, let me just do this. Here. Let's just do this. Let me reload my stream. Hold on, maybe it's still old stats. I don't know. Let's reload. Anyways, we'll see what's happening in these areas. Let's just pull this down and then see what's happened. I'm on the CNN stream, so maybe it could be let me just let that load up. But yeah, I mean, right now, I think right now we're having. I think that it did Florida go to Trump right now already? Amr?
No, yeah, I think Florida's projected to go towards Trump and.
All right, so
think
I
that's-
just reloaded it. So right now it's saying that Michigan is going. Oh, wow, they're talking about the old stat right now for Michigan, where under Romney, I don't know why they're doing that. I guess they're comparing, but right now the electoral map right now is 89 to 72. That means that Biden has 89 electoral delegates or college votes, and Trump has 72. You need 270 to win. So now what they're worried about is, the
Hey,
key
Morty,
areas
Morty,
are
I'm
going
sorry to
to be.
interrupt you. The listeners are noticing, and I noticed some kind of scratchiness that's coming through your microphone.
It's not just scratching; it's like pausing little by little. There's some cutoff, minor cutoff.
Scratching coming through my voice. I don't know.
Yeah, whenever you're talking. So I think we'll put you on mute, and me and Sheikh will have some conversations back and forth.
But
a little bit of the
about
jib jab.
But on Madison, bro, there's a major Trump supporter that has her whole lawn set up. They're right in front of the Madison Meadows Park. Bro, they're going all out, dude. They got like a vigil going on.
Yeah, sure. Do you actually think there's a chance for like civil war in any of this stuff happening?
I don't think there's a chance for civil war. I think there's definitely going to be protests. Whatever side loses, they're going to be sore losers. Obviously, there's going to be protests.
There's going to be protests, but I don't think civil. I think, look, when there has to be economic conditions that come into play when there's a talk of civil war. People have to be not unable to feed their family. People have to be not able to find a roof over their head. People have to be foreclosing their properties and all kinds of shortages in resources in order to take care of yourself. That's when revolution happens or civil war happens. That's what happened in the last civil war with the United States during the North versus South. Slavery was impacting the Southerners in that respect. They were worried about them being able to keep up with the rest of the world and the North.
I think the most that's going to happen is obviously. I think the most that can happen is if Trump loses, Trump supporters some of them may go to like federal buildings and probably try shooting it up or something, and then they'll probably be stopped obviously pretty easily. But I think if the Democrats lose, the Antifa and a lot of these guys are going to be protesting in the cities, just like when the BLM marches happen, So I think either way, I think we all have to be safe, man. Just like a word out of seriousness, after just don't go out too late and try to be a part of some rally. And it has nothing to do with bravery. It's about just being smart. You know what I'm saying? Don't like try to go and witness and be like, yeah, I'm going to go egg these people on. Just stay home with your families, bro, and chill.
Yeah. You don't want, especially like this is the non-believers world,
This is the non-believers.
Hey, is it still doing static? Is it still static right now?
Yeah, it is.
It's actually just pausing a little bit.
It's like bloop, 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 whenever you're talking.
I don't know.
Here's the thing. When we talk, when me and Sheikh Hammer talk, there's no interruption happening. Perhaps
Bort should just drive over to the studio where there's more baraka. How's that, Morty?
Nah, I don't feel like coming on you COVID guys.
I like
no
the background, though.
Yeah. It looks like you're in like a tropical fruit punch bowl.
It looks like he's just dug himself.
I know. What I was trying to do is
kind of a nectarine.
Ooh, I like your analogy,
Me too. I like it too. It's awesome.
He is pretty sweet.
I am pretty sweet.
No, he is not you,
Yes. Need my bro.
I'm wondering if it has to do with the stream going at the same time. Maybe that might be doing it. I don't know.
It's okay, Yad. It's very doable. It's a lot better than.
Yeah. Well, who are you rooting for, Sheikh? Sleepy Tom wants to know.
I'm not rooting for anybody, to be honest with you. But what I am rooting for right now is calling up Maheen and putting him on speakerphone so everyone could hear him. Should we do that?
No, you're not going to do that.
I'm doing it. Hey, you guys want to hear Maheen and call him on speakerphone? What do you guys think?
Not really. I wouldn't do that. That's kind of retarded. But anyways, look, honestly, look, I just can't. I just want to see what's going to happen with the results, man. I'm waiting for Ohio. I think Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania. These are actually Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and I think like Michigan. These are really going to be like really, really, really important to see what happens. Trump has to just lose one state that he won. Like one major state he won last time, and that's enough to flip the whole thing. Like that's what they're coming down to say.
I thought it was a little bit more than that. I thought he has to win those, but the states that he's projected to lose right now, I think a lot of the battleground states, he has to win all of those. But look, it's all about whether the polling data was accurate, and there's a whole lot of speculation about that. There's shy Trump supporters and people who don't want to admit to the pollsters what direction they're actually voting for. But it's so hard to say nowadays. At least in the past, people used to be open with at least with the pollsters in which direction they're going to vote. But nowadays, it doesn't seem that way at all. As far as who we're voting for, or at least mine, Sheikh Amr, and I think Mort's as well, is that no matter who's in the office of the presidency, the same thing is going to be enacted, and we don't see any difference in policy and I think what a lot of people fail to understand when it comes to the office of presidency is that it's mostly a figurehead place. It's just the same people who are advising Democratic presidents or Republican presidents are the same. They're all the same people. They're all the same cogs in the wheel. They come to the president with three different options. Say, Mr. President, you have option A, option B, option C, but we recommend option B, and the president usually follows their advice. And this is the same that happens with no matter how.
Hey, you guys want to see something crazy? Yeah. I made a prediction in 2019. Okay, about what's gonna happen. I wrote this down on New Year's Eve in 2019. I'm gonna share on my screen, and I want you to take a look at this. So what I did was this. Okay, I don't know if you can read these guys, but this is gonna be a little bit might be difficult to read for you. But I'll put it out there. Hold on, let me just expand this.
What if you did fix the audio too? By the way,
I think the stream was just causing it, but so this is what it is. Okay, it says these are states that were predicted to win in 2016 that by the Democrats that they lost. And that was Arizona, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Florida. Okay? And the states the Democrats won in 2016 were Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Colorado, New Mexico, Minnesota, Illinois, New York, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, and Hawaii. Now, I think the states that they're expected to win in 2020 that I thought were going to be Arizona, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. That will be a total delegate of 63. And I was saying that Democrats would win by narrow majority at 295 to 243. The main states that I predicted in 2019 to watch were Arizona, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Wow. And I think if I'm accurate, that's what we're watching right now. And I said the swing states, Georgia, North Carolina. I don't know why I put Nebraska, but I think Nebraska had that one little delegate in there that I was worried about. So I think that was what it was. Welcome, Maheen, the podcast. So I think right now, on paper, I said I believe that Democrats will win at 295 or 243, but my firasa is telling me that Trump is going to win. I don't know what it is. It's just my firasa that Trump is going to win, and I don't know. I don't know what
it is. Blue background.
Hey,
he's going blue.
Maheen, you look like a gamer girl, bro.
Maheen's going blue.
Oh, you want me to let me switch real quick. I gotta make it clear. No. Hold on. I gotta change this. We go red.
Oh, there you go. The Trump. Hey, bro, I got the Trump on right now, bro.
I know, man.
You know what?
All you guys are wearing MAGA shirt.
Right.
There you go. MAGA ready, baby. He's MAGA ready.
Dude, I'm so. Here's the. I don't know what you guys started right already. That we're live.
Yeah.
Well,
how was your burger, by the way?
Man, they put online ordering isn't the way to go for Centro, bro.
Yeah, you got to call them up, dude.
No, because they put onions on my hot dog. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's overloaded, right? But yeah, man, I'm just anyways, I just had to drop off the goods, if you know what I'm saying. That's why I was a little late.
Yeah. Dropping kids off the pool.
Kids at the pool.
You know what that means?
Oh, the Browns in the Super Bowl.
Wait, by the way, I just want to let you guys know that Qasim Rashid lost in a landslide in Virginia.
Mashallah,
alhamdulillah, he lost.
Fake Muslim.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, boy.
The fake Muslim lost. Yes, MAGA, baby.
For those who don't know, Qasim Rashid is the person who is running for what seat? What seat?
Virginia, in Virginia, right?
And
I think the second district, yeah.
He represents the Ahmadiyya community, the Qadiani community, the one who represents the false prophet.
Oh my God, Maheen, really, dude? Look at this guy.
Oh well, no, it's good. Let him fix up his stream. But you know what though, Amir? You know what's crazy, guys? By the way, that I heard. I have a source, and I got some family in Saudi Arabia. They were telling me, they sent me videos of someone in Masjid al-Haram in Mecca making dua that Abu Ivanka wins. That like Trump wins.
My God.
Like they really want Trump to win. They think that Biden is going to screw up their country.
That's so stupid. Of all the things you would waste your breath on, that is.
Well, I mean, he lives there, right? So I mean, that's like just going to the masjid.
I don't care if you.
That's just like going to the masjid. You know what I mean?
There. If you have a little hut made right next to the Kaaba, I would never waste a single breath on who is going to become the next president of the United States. That's the stupidest duo.
I bet you someone out there is making like some kind of.
Morty, if I know that person, tell them Simpsons.
No, you don't know them. No, just some guy that you did some in the video. But the thing is, like, I think we're gonna make like a I don't know, maybe someone probably made a Gasida Amir. Maybe something, maybe I could do something on the fly for Abu Ivanka. يا هلا يا مرحبا يا أبو إيفانكا هلا بيك ملعون 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 من عاديك تسمع كلامنا كلنا أبو إيفانكا وكلنا أمريكا ولا شك فيها إننا مع ملك أبو إيفانكا سلاماتكم. We'll just leave it just for Abu Ivanka.
You didn't say a poem, dude. You didn't say a poem, man. That was more. Whoa.
Abu Ivanka,
guys, that was actually pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie, dude.
Really?
One thing I wanted to, if we can just, I don't know too much detail about that dude who crashed into the Haram. What was that all about?
Who crashed into the Haram?
Oh, so no, apparently that was a mentally handicapped guy. I mean, he just, it's not right. He just barged into, so the guy who basically, at the same time that whole shooting happened in France, the thing happened in France, some guy ran over the barrier in his car and ran into the Haram, I think number 23 door in the Haram. Yeah. He ran right into it, but then the guards got him and they pulled him off and they arrested him. But I think he was just mentally crazy. Okay. It wasn't like, yeah, but some people, conspiracy theorists are saying that, well, they wanted, something, Saudi was like rejecting something about whatever, and like, about France, about the boycotts, and they were condemning them, and they were like, it's funny that it automatically this happens now right after that, but I think it's just conspiracy. There's a lot of crazy people in the world who do stupid things, and I think this is just one of them.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. Should we go and check? I can't. Hold on, let me see if I can. Let's see the. If I stream it, I think we'll probably run into a lag issue. So I'm just gonna when I stream the video here, I'm gonna mute myself so that way there's no glitch in my voice.
Yeah.
But let's just take a look at Ohio here. Let me just share the screen and see what happens here.
Ohio State.
OH. Yeah, Ohio's gonna come through for the red.
Hey, well, it's close in Florida.
Let's get a zoom in on Cleveland.
I figured Florida went to Trump.
It's close. I mean, about a couple 100,000 votes. I mean, it's not for Florida, but it probably will be him, no doubt.
Whoa, is Trump winning? No, wait.
No, that's 2016. That's 361, 306.
He got me so excited.
Well, CNN's got a free stream.
No, I paid for CNN, bro.
Oh, okay,
but I'm using it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I got the.
But yeah, it looks. So I think they're still counting. So we're gonna come back. Right now, it looks like Biden has 94 delegates and Trump has 72. So we'll come back to that. I'm telling you, the key states to worry about are gonna be Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. These are gonna be like key states for Trump to worry about. Without these,
you think Ohio's gonna go? Because I heard Ohio's looks like looking at a toss up right now. Well, he's gonna go.
It's gonna be blue. I mean, it's gonna go red, bro. I think Ohio and Florida will be red. There's no doubt about they're gonna be red. Let's be honest, bro. Them people. You know how I feel? Look, I feel like this. I feel like some people in the Republican Party feel like this is the last stand for like that white Anglo-Saxon Protestant dream. Like they know that in 2024, 2028, that's just going to be radically different. They're going to have, and they may not even agree with Trump, but they're like, yo, just to hang on to whatever we have left, I got to vote for Trump. Right. And so that's just, I think so that applies to Ohio, because we're not talking about Cleveland. We're talking about places like Boardman, Akron, Toledo, like, I mean, like just around just rural Ohio, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, Zanesville.
Yeah. Question. I'm trying to understand if you guys are voting for Biden, why not lobby more unless you guys have, I didn't vote this election for a presidential candidate.
I didn't either. I did vote, but I didn't vote I left that blank. I wrote in Kanye West and then I changed it at the end.
Yeah. Well, for people who don't understand, in Canada, we have an electoral college system. So where we both live, whether I voted in New York or whether I voted in Chicago, it wouldn't make a difference because they're overwhelmingly Democrat. It doesn't make a difference. Chicago and New York and even LA has generally always been blue. So it doesn't matter if I vote here or not. I mean, the candidate from...
And look, Morty, if you want to kill that stream, it's good. It's doing that popping thing.
What up?
Hey, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Joe. How you doing, my friend?
Sheikh Joe, I was just thinking about you the other day.
Hey, Joe.
Go ahead.
Sheikh Joe, call in. Why don't you use the link? Send him a link.
Yeah, send him a link.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so just to
answer... what? Hold on here. Let me...
Yeah, cut off your CNN thing, dude.
Ayman, it's something that we've advocated a lot in the past. Rather than voting, Muslims should establish good lobbying groups that can, push policy that is favorable towards Islam and Muslims. That's always been a position, at least not officially, of the Madam but most of us or all of us in some way or another have always advocated the establishment of lobbying groups rather than Muslims voting. I mean, I think I vote mainly because of the local elections. I feel like local elections have not been corrupted by the interest groups, people who are interested in making sure their wealth and power and status quo is maintained through the various federal positions in the federal elections. So I think there is still hope for democracy in the local elections. So I also encourage people to put aside the halal and haram aspect of it and just vote for the local elections.
Guys, I had a quick question. So when Glenn Greenwald, you guys don't mind a quick switch of the subject? Joe Bradford's looking for the link.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to him. Actually, if we could, I'm gonna try to message him privately with that. I don't think we're gonna open up a link for public for everybody right now. So let me just try to I'm gonna try to get to him privately while you guys do this. 1 second.
Cool. So meanwhile, in our chat group, I had sent you guys for you and Mort specifically. I think you guys didn't get around to it, but when Glenn Greenwald was on Fox News and his interview with Joe Rogan, he mentioned something about Donald Trump making enemies with the CIA, which is why they accused him of colluding with Russia. But he proved that there was actually no collusion with Russia, and all the accusations that he had throughout his presidency.
Glenn is a shill, bro. I don't trust him. He's a little rat to me.
But no, just let me finish what I'm saying. Hold on. So as far as Trump making enemies with the CIA and the NSA and getting on their bad side, how much of an effect do you think that that's going to have in this election year? Because he always was very, very, in the beginning, very blunt and wasn't on the side of the CIA and the NSA. So how do you think that's going to play a role now in these elections?
Well, the CIA has always been a agency that most presidents did not want to mess with. It's always been a protected group where presidents would not embarrass. They do not want to embarrass them.
Embarrass, it's a good word.
And you end up risking embarrassment, or somehow some mysterious leak comes out against you.
Because Russia and the accusations.
Yeah, and what Glenn Greenwald is talking about regarding the Russia Gate conspiracy is what he's saying, that the Democrats or the left are so fixated on Russia Gate and thinking that or trying to force the position that Trump was wrongfully elected into office, and it's a position that they refuse to give up, and that's what Glenn's really saying, is that he is being pushed or kind of being forced by other leftist journalists who are who won't let that story go, to continue that narrative. So
yeah, look, I mean, I'll be honest. Look. The CIA and the FBI, they're all control. They all work at the pleasure of the president. If you want to keep your job, you will do what the president tells you to do. Now they're worried about leaks and stuff, but Donald Trump doesn't care because he's a Teflon Don. He doesn't care what happens to him. He's not a politician that has to worry about a 30-year history in politics. He doesn't care. Like, he's got lawyers, he's got money. He doesn't depend on politics. He doesn't really give a crap what the CIA and the FBI think. He's made it very clear he doesn't care. He appoints somebody to be his DNI and he talks crap about him right on national TV. He doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care, bro. He just does. He's wild, bro. He doesn't care. He's that wild card. By the way, Joe, can you check your WhatsApp messenger? Your Facebook messenger. I put it in there. Yeah, I put it in there for you.
What do you think, Mort? As a question was also directed to you too. What do you think? How much of effect do you think him being president is going to be with in relation to the CIA and the NSA and all those guys?
Nothing. I mean, look, I kept telling you, bro. Listen, all these alphabet agencies, they serve at the pleasure of the president. He's the commander in chief. All of them report to him. No matter what, if they don't like him, their oath is to the commander in chief. They work for him.
So at the end, they do put him under,
Yeah, Morty. I respectfully disagree with you in that respect. That yes, they are the executive branch of the government, and they report to the president of the United States. But there's always a silent agreement with the president and the director of CIA, not to cause an embarrassment to the agency. And
but let me tell you something. But let me tell you. I mean, just look at anyone that even tried to prosecute with impeachment. None of them came forward. Even during the 2016 election, you had the FBI had messages in between internally that we don't want this man to be president. They couldn't do anything about it, bro. You can't. Like, I mean, what Donald Trump did is he's not afraid to run his mouth up and badmouth the agency. Traditionally, presidents of the United States of America were afraid to badmouth the agency because people respect the CIA and the FBI. He doesn't care, bro. He'll just out them. He'll talk about them dirty.
He talked about them dirty for all the wrong reasons, not for because.
But his followers love it, bro. They consider draining the swamp. They don't care, bro. I'm telling you, he doesn't care, bro.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't care. Any idiot can't care about anything. But what I'm saying is that the CIA embarrassed him by providing some validity to Russiagate and the various Russian operatives that were running bots throughout American social media. And
how did that work out?
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it wasn't because Trump had some noble virtue where he just wanted to do payback.
No, but what I'm saying is that you're asking me how it's going to impact him, and I'm saying it has no impact on him, bro. It doesn't. It has no impact on him. Like, he's Teflon Don. Salam alaikum, Joe Bradford. Joe Bradford, welcome. What's your take? Are you on Team Trump or are you on Team Biden? Where are you on this whole thing?
Team USA, bro. I'm on Team USA. Okay. even saying that, I'm gonna have some people pissed with me on Twitter, but who cares?
Yeah. No, but you know what? I was telling these guys earlier. Honestly, I think in any election, the presidential election doesn't really affect me. It's usually the local stuff that affects me. But I did enjoy when Trump won last time, and there was that one liberal that was like, "No." That girl, like, it was just like her whole world was over. Like, I apologize to my world. I apologize to my world. And it was just funny. Like, I mean, you have to admit, like, Donald Trump is funny. Like, he's funny to have him there. It's just
entertainer. But yes, Joe Bradford, I have to say, it looks like you're in a hotel at a convention.
No, this is my living room, actually. You're just
I see the basketball.
You're catching part of the breakfast nook, part of the dining room, and then the living room. So,
Joe, you remember the original Dump the Trump podcast that we had about 4 years ago?
Trumpocalypse.
Yeah,
Trumpocalypse.
Yeah, we did it right after the election. I remember that. Yeah,
the election. Everyone thought, I don't know if anyone gets these X-Men references that I often make. I have a Magneto helmet right here in the back. I don't know if you guys can see it, but everyone was predicting Sentinels were going to come and capture all the Muslims, and obviously, alhamdulillah, none of that transpired the way we thought it would. But
yeah, man. I mean, at that time, I remember election night. There were people who were on Facebook saying like how racist America was, and their whole life had ended, and things were just so bad. And I'm like, dude, you're an executive for an oil and gas company that lives in like the whitest place in town.
That's a good one. I like that.
I agree.
So I think one thing that's that's important, and there's always going to be that retort, right? Like, oh, Trump is a white supremacist. Maybe he is, but I think he's more of a narcissist than anything, and he's willing to give concessions to people that are going to come and scratch his back and that are going to want to see him and put his name out there. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And some people realized that, and they were able to get some things done. I agree with Mort though that the local politics have such they have a more far-reaching effect than we want to give credit to, because whoever you elect locally is going to have a play in your county and your state and party and its representation. And in the end of the day, that's how your electoral college votes are going to be assigned, is based on that local representation. So everybody's like only focusing on the popular vote in the presidential elections is like an exercise in futility. If you're not involved in your local school board, you're probably never going to see anything positive happen, in politics, if you want to actually have a real effect in your life.
Very well said.
I've been saying this for such a long time that, and it's funny because Muslims, unfortunately, many Muslims haven't really figured out how the American system works. Like, they're just told that, oh, you got to go out and vote, but they don't I imagine this to happen during most election years, and every 4 years they get passionate, right? And then they go to the voting booth and they just choose between the president, and then they don't know anything else below that. Like, they don't know anybody else, like, who to vote for. They just say, oh, the Democrat? Yeah. Okay, let's just put the whole thing Democrat. Oh, the Republican? Let's put the whole thing Republican. They don't realize they don't have enough information about the candidates besides the president. And let's be honest, most of what they know about the candidate they're voting for is through word of mouth. It has nothing to do with the research behind policy or whether it's actually an informed decision or not. And I think that Absolutely. In and of itself is problematic.
You know what really threw me for a pickle, or I couldn't really decide on the ballot today, was some amendment that they were going to make to the Illinois Constitution, where they were going to get rid of this flat tax that was implemented throughout the state on various incomes, and I can't remember what exactly the tax entailed, but what was taxing, but. The amendment was that it would give the freedom for the Illinois legislature to tax some of the higher income people in the state. And I'm a big believer in flat tax, and I was thinking about if I could make an ijtihad or something off the cuff, because in the sum we kind of do have a flat tax in regards to the zakat, right? 2.5%, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe the flat tax is more Islamic in nature, and maybe I should vote in that respect. To try to align my vote, in an Islamic manner, and not penalize wealthy people in that respect. I don't know. Well, what are your thoughts? Do you guys think that?
I think that
I voted no on that.
Yeah, I voted no as well.
Because I heard there's also loopholes that it gives you gave the stick the opportunity to even tax the middle class down the road. I think there's some fine line there. Secondly, in general, like the state of Illinois has proven to be incompetent with our taxpayer money. So why would I give them more?
Yeah. Did you hear about all these Muslims who are running on the ballot At least I saw a couple Muslim names on the ballot, and I'm like, I do not want brown people in charge in a corrupt state of Illinois. We're going to have Operation. Remember, there was a big Operation Silver Shovel that they found all the corruption within the city of Chicago. We're going to have like Operation Hindu Shovel or something to that effect, where they're gonna put us behind our proud politicians behind bars.
No, I'll be honest. Look, Chicago's been a corrupt city from day one. I mean, people don't realize it got the name Windy City not because of the temperature, but because of Chicago politics. It's always been there. I mean, I know I'm being dead serious. That's how it is, And like, even going back to like the Kennedy days, like Jimmy Hoffa, like that union came out of, they were busy in Chicago. Like the mob was busy in Chicago. They got busy. I mean, there's a reason why Al Capone set up shop, and like you have all these people out in Chicago. Like Chicago is a political machine, and it's hard to like get anything done in Chicago. I mean, just look at the mayors that we have. Look at the governor we have. I mean, our governor tried to sell off the seat, for crying out loud. Like, I mean, got publicly went to jail for it. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. It's not just like brown people. Chicago has corrupt politicians, period. I mean, Rahm Emanuel, for crying out loud, became the mayor of Chicago. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but I think in general, though, the reality here is this, though. I personally feel like this. I think the best way, and I've personally thought about this. Lobbyists are the way people persuade politicians. Like, they pay them money to vote in their favor. Because, politicians, I've noticed, will say the nicest things to you when they're running. The lip service will do this, will represent your interest. But really, money talks in this country. Unfortunately, that's just kind of how it works. That's why the tobacco industry, the lobby is so big. The NRA, what do you want to take? The APAC, whatever it is, whatever you look at, these lobbies are significant because they donate, and so they actually interact with the candidates post-election time. Most of us will never ever check up or follow up or fact check a candidate past an election date. Right? Like during the 4 years or 2 years or 8, whatever they're in office, we won't really hold them accountable. These lobbies tend to hold them accountable by monetary influence. Hey, if you don't deliver on X, Y, and Z, we're not going to pay you. And I think that would be a more sensible approach rather than Muslims are just donating to some random candidate, raising him millions of dollars. Put it into a super PAC where you can actually use that money to influence the vote. I don't know how you guys feel about that. That's my opinion.
Well, Sheikh Ahmed, I wanted to ask you, because when is my voice clear as well? Somebody said there was echo last time.
Yeah, your voice is clear.
Yeah, you're good.
Hey, Sheikh Ahmed, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear. It was just really loud for a second. Go ahead.
I apologize. So I wanted to ask you about your experience with when I was overseas. A lot of our teachers were saying that basically what Mort was saying, that there should be voting blocks. If we're to gain some type of control or influence, because that's just the nature of the game. We very much, I think in the West, we very much deride tribal culture of the East, but it's essentially the same dynamic. You're going to have tribes that are going to support certain people, and they're going to put people in power. And over here, it's done through the way that Mort described it. What was your experience?
To be honest with you, man, I didn't, unfortunately, the situations that I was in, I really didn't get in too many political discussions, or even with teachers that would really give any type of great ideas, just the general, even if I did talk to some teachers about certain issues, it would just be about voting and to be honest with you, a lot of the teachers that I was with were not very informed about like American politics. But I think you bring up a very great point that people don't really discuss, is that humans in any situation or any country they're in, they're not going to really get away from this tribal. There's always this element of tribalness in human beings that we're never going to escape from. It's just a much greater version of it. It's a much bigger, more advanced version of it, whatever that means. But I think what it usually comes down to is that people are always going to hold on to whatever ideals they have. And they're hoping that there's going to be someone that's going to be able to voice what they're feeling inside. And that's one tribe, that one chief that can be convinced, and the whole tribe is just going to follow, right? Like Mort, you said something also very interesting. A lot of people don't really know, and they're not going to fact check what a candidate's going to do after they're president, right? This whole concept of just as human beings, and I don't want to get too philosophical, but bringing someone that we feel is going to represent us is a humongous turmoil amongst us, right? And it's something that's always going to shake us. It's always going to bring about weird behaviors in us. But I think at the end, all of us are just. It always came down to people just hoping something good comes out of all of this, right? It's a Hail Mary attempt to hope something good comes out of all
Well,
this.
I will say this. I think America is unique in the sense that a lot of people are even confused about what kind of government we are. And I think we have to kind of clarify that. We are a democratic republic where you are represented by a person that you feel best represents you. You don't have a direct voice to the government. So you're going to have to be cool with the fact that someone you're voting for doesn't represent you entirely. But there are some core issues that you feel are important enough that you put your weight behind them because you feel like these are important issues. So in a lot of ways, a lot of Americans end up compromising when they cast a vote because they're like, you know what, he may not be on these issues, but these issues like maybe like abortion or, I don't know, whatever are important to me. So I'm going to put my weight behind him. So I guess the whole system is set up in a way where you're going to be disappointed by your candidate no matter who you vote for.
No, Morty,
because
you're being way too generous. Even a representative democracy wouldn't give you two options that you have to pick from. And at least historically speaking, representative democracies were in place, throughout the millennia. There were different forms of it, but in essence, people were electing people to power who really had their issues at heart, and they were in positions of power in various forms of government. And it's not something that is completely new. But what has transpired in America is that the wealthy and the most powerful institutions of the state have bought out both parties, and they said, you know what, as long as you guys are busy fighting amongst yourself about whether abortion is legal or not, or whether you can have guns or not, you guys can go ahead and keep arguing about that while our interests are secure, that we can still make billions and billions of dollars of profit off of you and give you the scraps off our table. Then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right?
That's why it's more important. That's why it's more important, I think, that while yes, we are in a democratic republic, and we have representative government and things like that, no doubt, and we don't have a direct line to affecting change. The one place that we do have a direct line to affecting change is what we consume and what we buy. And if you'll notice, the last, I want to say, I mean, definitely the last last couple of presidents have been corporatists. They've been those who have been at the behests of multi-million-dollar, multinational, billion-dollar corporations. And if you also notice that with swaying the public's attitude towards social issues, corporations are at the core of that, right? It is much more about who controls the messaging than it is, who has political power. So it's how is that going to be slowed down? It can be slowed down through politics, but it can also be slowed down through individual choice and what you choose to consume or not.
Absolutely, and I think I think a lot of people don't realize the amount or the effect of consumerism on on American politics. Like, people don't realize that, and I guess this goes back to the relationship between money and politics, business and politics. You have major establishments that have, or industries that have, representation in Washington for a reason. So I guess that's where I went back to my own thinking, and kind of what maybe Joe was alluding to is that it might be smart for Muslims to put their money, rather than, the vote's fine. I think local level, but I think if you're gonna if you want accountability, which I think is the key word, accountability. It's easy for someone to sound nice, but if you want to hold them accountable, it seems that the only way to hold them accountable is by using lobbies that offer them, money for whatever re-election or for support or to their causes or whatever it may be. And I'm beginning to think maybe that's the only way to actually get some action in Washington.
And Sheikh, I would like your take on this too, but I think all of us can kind of let's just be straightforward. Do you guys think that voting, even though it's there's a lot of hype behind it, it's very exciting, it's entertaining, it makes your blood pressure go up and waiting for the result. It's a beautiful suspense is built up, right? It's beautiful in a sense of entertainment. But is it safe to say, that voting is not the most effective way to make a political change? Voting, every 4 years. So we talked about
you
working.
Mean president? You mean presidential, or do you mean entirely? Because these are two different things.
Yes, let's talk about presidential first, and then but entirely, right? But I personally think one of the best points we brought up so far is local elections, and as far as how we consume, even as a community, right? But comparing all of those, starting off with presidential elections, number one, do we think that voting is the best way to sway candidates? And number two, just affecting politics in general? Sheikh, why don't we start off with you, Sheikh? Joe, تفضل.
How is voting the best way to sway candidates? No, I think money sways candidates much more than votes. People, they will vote against what their own constituents want if they know that that's going to be, if they say, oh, I'm securing the economic future of my constituents, that's why I changed my vote. It happens all the time. So I think that economic strength and independence is a much higher priority as a community and as individuals than involvement in politics. That said, I mean, all of these spheres have an incestuous relationship, right? So, and that term's probably not going to go over well with some people, but
it's okay.
It's the reality, right? It's the reality of it. So, I think for some people, you're right that there's a certain emotional and psychological effect that getting involved in politics has, and it can be very negative. And for those people, it's probably better to just stay out of it completely. And, as a friend of mine says, this was last in 2016 elections. He was like, hey, man, I just worry about stuff that I can control.
Yep.
And to me, that's the biggest thing that people really need to focus on is worry about what you can control. In the end of the day, presidents work within parameters. Those parameters aren't going to be changing anytime soon. But Donald Trump, didn't force me to stay in bed and miss Fajr, and Joe Biden's certainly not going to come and wake me up. And so, in the end of the day, as far as my deen goes, I've got to worry about those things that I can control. And also, and I think again, harkening back to what Mort said, is understand the dynamics of the system as a whole. As Muslims, our belief is that there is something greater than politics that guides man.
Of course,
that's the point.
And
so a couple things. Yeah. So sorry. Go ahead. On that point, I wanted to
go ahead.
jump because there is voting for. Okay. It seems like I put a meme out, one of those Drake memes on Twitter the other day about Muslims advising other Muslims to practice Islam. No. Muslims advising other Muslims to vote for Biden. Yeah. Right. They've made that, but it's being treated like a theological issue. And the frustrating thing about it is that during the Democratic primaries, you would hear sentiment like, oh, Joe Biden sucks. If they're not going to give Bernie or bust, we're going to vote for Trump just to show the DNC, just to throw it in their face. And it's like that rhetoric in 6 months has just gone down the drain. You don't see that at all. In fact, I was criticized for just leaving my ballot blank. Mort doesn't believe me. Mort thinks I voted for Trump. and I'm behind like the House Bengalis for Trump too. But but I mean, I'm saying like you can't even like say your third party in a blue state like Illinois or go blank without Muslims just going nuts and being like, "Oh, you're being irresponsible."
How dare you? How dare you
Yeah.
throw away your vote?
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's always been the problem where it's like, and I feel like that they become so tribalistic when it comes to voting season. Like I've had someone say that, you know what, I think haram to vote for Donald Trump because he kills Muslims and he hates Muslims.
And other American presidents
And I'm
don't.
like, yeah, and I'm thinking like, bro, have you not been around from the Obama administration? Like literally, like I mean, and to be and I look, I appreciate the sentiment that they want to be with the Muslims and think about the Muslim interest, but American politics is way beyond that. Like people need to understand that Muslims themselves, we make up like less than 1% of the American population. Like we're not even significant enough for them to really appeal to. Like they to be honest, if it wasn't for political correctness, they wouldn't even address us. They wouldn't even care about our vote. Like they don't really care about that block, right? They're more worried about your race and your
They don't
ethnicity.
care about the vote. No, they don't care about the vote, but they do care about the money.
Yeah.
Because even though we are a religious minority, we are a very affluent minority, and that's why there has been a drive to the secularization of Muslim identity, as well as the ethnicization, if that's even a word, to make an ethnicity out of Muslim identity. Because when it becomes about the preservation of identity, I'm more likely to invest in those people that I feel are going to keep my status quo, and those people that are going to allow me to survive, than those people that are going to maybe hate my guts but allow me the wherewithal to thrive. Who knows?
So no, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sim.
Yeah, I was just going to give an update on the election. 209 are confirmed electoral votes that are coming in. 209 for Joe Biden and 112 for Trump. But the bad news for Joe Biden fans is that all the battleground states look to be leaning towards Trump. And if it stays that way, he is going to win.
What about very interesting? I thought it was hilarious. Somebody shared with me what Sheikh Hamza Maqbool voted for.
Imam Zaid.
Was that joke? Imam Zaid Shakir? Was that real or was that?
Yeah. No, that was real. That was real.
That was so dope. I saw that. I was like, what a G, dude. This guy. He just puts Imam Zaid Shakir on there.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
Joe, do you have this? It's something that I've been kind of on my head for a while. Do you think Muslims should have like some kind of spiritual leader, not necessarily an imam who will direct them in every single direction, but maybe some kind of an Al Sharpton of sorts, not without the corruption and everything. A good representative of so someone who we can send as a representative of our interests to certain spaces that can be problematic in certain situations.
Yeah, well, you agree that he shouldn't be brown, right, Sim? Off the bat.
No, it definitely should be a white man.
Well,
No,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Joe, what do you say? There's only you and Jack.
Dude, his name is Joe, bro. Come on.
I actually believe that anybody that fulfills a religious leadership role in the Muslim community should not be actively involved in politics and should not be approaching politicians. They should be advising the community as to the qualities of a leader and what they should be looking for, but they should not be endorsing candidates. They should not be attending rallies. They should not be involving themselves, because it taints the stature and the dignity of the position that they fill in the community, and it also leads to future abuse of those positions in the community. There's a reason why right? So the United States has separation of church and state. It's not because we're not like European secularism or laicity in France, where we hate religion. No, we just want to make sure that religion is not going to be abused for nefarious political purposes. And I feel that there's been a failing in the Muslim community to understand that nuance. And when I've seen people in the past kind of come out and endorse political candidates and things like that, that worries me. And I think there's a great model, and this is something I've seen from scholars in Nigeria who may be very vocal about societal problems and governmental problems, but have never taken positions of endorsing candidates, and instead just guiding people to what the best practices should be. To me, that's a more viable
I think you make a really good point, because it does set a precedence for other scholars to or people who are learned in the religious sciences to vouch for power or positions of positions that can be abused and fall into the same traps that the Catholics fell into in years past.
No, and that's why I'm glad you mentioned that at the end, because someone can say on that, based off that statement, but what about Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, right? But what the Sheikh Joe Bradford is saying, I agree with you 100%, man, is he's saying that they shouldn't run for some type of office or be heavily involved with a politician. Rather, their work is with the people and telling the people, informing the people, and the capacity that they hold, whether it's a national, international capacity, but it shouldn't ever be propped up by people to be a politician, which is very dangerous grounds, right? And there's a lot of things,
or a politician's proxy.
Or thank you very much. Or politician's proxy. That's actually a very important. So what ends up happening is not only is the individual not well versed, they have to go in a field which they shouldn't have to go in Islamically in the first place, because it's a whole different world. It's a whole different ballgame of how people operate in those circles and in that field. And there's a lot of and I think one other thing that I want to mention is that when somebody is taking a religious stance and they happen to be popular, it's almost expected, almost by default, that this person is a politician because they have such a far reach, right? So then we have expectations of them automatically of being somewhat of a political figure, right? And I think that distancing is very, very important, man. Very, very important. It doesn't mean, again, that...
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, yeah, I think that, especially in America, politics, because politics is so dirty that when you get a candidate, people get swayed by money, by power, by influence. So there should be one neutral party whose only allegiance is to the spiritual welfare of the community. And that's all they care about, right? So they're going to make a decision based on that. But just a quick update. By the way, yes, it looks like that some of the swing states like Michigan and these places are leaning toward Trump. But keep in mind, Michigan only has 43% tallied up so far. Ohio has it's pretty much close to 92%. We know that's going to be there. Pennsylvania only has 46% tallied up, and Wisconsin has 59% tallied up.
Wait, so which way is Ohio going?
Ohio's going to be red. That's 92%.
Have reported in.
Yeah, so that's 53.2% for Trump and 45.3% for Biden
in Ohio,
right?
Wow.
Yeah, in Ohio. Yeah, Ohio. That's kind of a given. Ohio's usually
Ohio's a swing state, though. Usually,
I don't know. Last time it went for Trump, but they're not really I think they're looking really to Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. These were areas that and Wisconsin has like 60% reporting so far. So we still got a long way to go before we call it, right? These are going back and forth, but
a lot of states are saying they're not even going to be able to finish counting tonight.
Yeah.
They probably won't have tallied everything until Friday.
Joe, who's going to win in your estimation?
Can I piggyback off of that? Sorry. And who you think is going to win, but I want your honest opinion of what you think is if Trump wins, what do you think is going to be the reaction of the other side? And if Biden wins, what's going to be the reaction of the Republicans? What do you think? But first and foremost,
those are hard. I don't know. I was kind of hoping for like a surprise Kanye upset. I think that would be like that would have been the best. I mean, with the amount of money he had, he came in too late. He could have been completely the Ross Perot of our generation.
Yeah, he could have.
But
do you guys remember Ross Perot?
Rogan.
No, but one thing I think I've realized is that in this election in 2016, that money doesn't really matter. I mean, look, Bloomberg came in with all this money and he wasted his money. Like, nothing happened. He just blew up $1 billion for nothing. Hillary Clinton she out campaigned as far as money wise, Donald Trump, and it didn't do anything. Bernie raised him a good amount of money. We got him a certain distance, but hey, there's got to be a certain like a fire, and I think Kanye is just a little too crazy up there. I doubt he passed the mental exam. Like he's legit bipolar.
It's interesting. It's interesting you mentioned the issue of money because I was watching The Hill, the Rising. It's a YouTube news channel. They pretty much are the only honest election coverage, to be honest, to say the truth. But they were talking about this the race between Mitch McConnell and what was his opponent's name, Galbraith or something like that, and how she had outraised him 2-1, and he still took her in a landslide. Not in a landslide, but he still was well ahead of her in the polls. Money definitely is not everything, especially if the person is not aligned with the people. I think one thing. Across the board, regardless of party politics and things like that, is one thing that's going to be very evident from this is that the identity politics that have been played on both sides are going to mean less, and the actual class analysis is going to mean more, because the way that things are shaping up in both local and the presidential elections, it does seem that many people are just being underestimated as to how much they care about actual issues versus how much they care about the identity politics.
The one thing I'll say is I wonder if the rhetoric of anti-Trumpers will stop in the sense that like anyone who votes for Trump is a racist, bigot, etc. And when you hear that, you're talking about half the country. Like, have you guys ever spoken to a Trump supporter and like gotten to know them? And they're like, no, we wouldn't want to get to know anyone who wants to expel me from my country. I'm like, all right, well, if that's what you actually think, then you're the problem. So, but I wonder if that's going to cease to exist because people might actually get a wake-up call like that. Yeah.
Mahan, what's interesting? Even in the ads for Donald Trump during this season, if you noticed, the tone was a little bit different. It wasn't like rah rah rah, Donald Trump. It wasn't like really fist shaking and cheering him on. It was like, say what you want about him, but he did this. He's a little off on things, but he did that. So the whole rhetoric is actually changed, and is being pinned less on his
personality.
His personality quirks, if you could call it that. And
No, I think that's interesting because people say, well, what did he do? So I'll just give you from what I talk to Trump supporters a lot, so I'll tell you. So
you're wearing red.
No, from Qasem Soleimani, Baghdadi, right? They'll say a prison reform. They'll say, taking away the Obamacare mandate. They're getting tougher on illegal immigration. These are things that maybe you and I maybe not feel the same way, but these are things that they look at him and say, you know what? These are these are things that we can, trace back to him and say these are actionable. And then one of the biggest things are the trade war with China. A lot of people were reluctant to take on China. And he says, I'm going to do that. Also USMCA, repealing NAFTA. That's something that some people like. He's pro fracking. Some people's entire industries are built on fracking, right? So people have like their own reasons for what they feel like Trump did for them, right? And just like Democrats have their own. Yeah, he did bring back some industry that people thought was completely gone from America. Some, and so these are different things that that people will credit towards Donald Trump. And I think that not recognizing these things is just is just doing a disservice to just political rhetoric in general. Like if you really want to be honest about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of bad things, and there are a lot of major, majorly questionable and morally questionable things that this administration has done. I mean, and I know I tried to, when he was first elected, let's see what the guy's going to do. Give the benefit of the doubt. There's a lot of morally questionable things with his family, with business, and even on the border. Sure, there was a change in the way that immigration was dealt with, and with asylum seekers being dealt with, but at the same time, a lot of inexcusable treatment of people on the border and in detention centers. Doesn't matter who built the buildings; matters who put the people in there and treated them like that. So, I think one of the things that's important, however, is to realize that that there are really no absolutes in all of this, in that not every single thing that has been done has been bad, and not every single thing that has done has been good. And until people can get past that, then they're never going to have a calm day in their life. They're always going to be raging, because they're going to start to rage about things that are inherently good for their country, and they're going to rage against things that are inherently bad for them in their country. And
Joe,
mhm.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I'm done.
No, so no.
Good job.
Don't you think that there is a way, just too much exaggeration in the power of the presidency, and in terms of not recognizing that the advisors and the people who speak with the president and present them the same options, that they would have presented a Democrat or a Republican president, they're all the same mechanisms that are in place. They're all presenting option A, B, and C to that president, and in essence, the presidency in the United States is more of a figurehead position, where you're not going to get much variation in a Democrat or a Republican being in power, and I think it was telling, even when someone like Chomsky was saying just recently that the only reason why I would recommend people to vote for Biden is just because that the Democrats have a smidge more, they place a smidge more importance on the environment, and we are right now at a precipice where we're seeing the downfall of humanity if we don't put some kind of if we don't mitigate the rising global carbon emissions and whatnot. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think even that in and of itself
I think yes,
is a
Joe.
huge debate among conservatives and Republicans. Oh, okay. I don't know. I
Yes,
thought you said
Joe,
to me.
right?
I don't know. Oh, I have no idea. I thought the question went on forever, so I had no idea what the question was.
Go ahead, Mort. Go ahead.
I thought, yeah. No, I mean, I just feel like it's just like, I mean, I think that whole question is loaded because both sides look at it differently. As far as environment, it's just, the Republicans will say there's no human influence into it. And no matter what you do, it's not going to change the way the Earth is. And the Democrats are, well, you know what? There's definitely human influence. So it depends on who you're asking, like what side of the coin they're coming from.
No, well, we're not talking. We're just specifically talking about the office, the office of the president, right? That in itself not having much variation.
Let me answer that, Sam. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think that we give too much credence to the president as the executive. He's there to simply carry out policies, right?
Yeah.
And we give too much. We give too much self oversight to him and self regulation as to holding himself accountable for those policies. Now, it's very clear that the Trump administration, with under the guidance of Bannon when he was still in the administration, they were systematically dismantling a lot of the apparatuses that had been built up in the federal government, and a lot of the hiring that had been going. I mean, even Barack Obama came out the other day and he said Joe Biden is going to have to completely rework and rebuild the State Department because of the level of hiring that it's at. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning that is to say that the president has the wherewithal to hire and fire, to implement as he sees fit. But in the end of the day, it's the Congress that's supposed to be taking people to task and asking them, why didn't they? I mean, they're the ones that can bring people in, and subpoena them and have them testify and make a public spectacle out of it to put pressure to bring about change. But we've only seen them do that when it's politically expedient to them, not when it's actual, when there's actual issues at hand, right? So I'm probably the least familiar amongst all of you about how all of the intricacies of these things work. I just feel that we have an overinflated sense because of an inclination towards loving strong figures and authoritarian leaders, that we want the president to be the same. And in reality, so much more of this fervor needs to be put on Congress people to keep them in check, so that they're keeping the nation in check.
What do you think about the rhetoric that so the way I see it, we have 4 years of case studies with Trump. We kind of know what he's about. I was listening to another Muslim podcast with a Democratic strategist, and
there's another Muslim podcast. This is the only Muslim podcast.
Thank you,
and
Joe.
so they were framing
everybody else is fake news.
They were framing this rhetoric about the last 40, that he's going to be much worse in the next 4 years as a lame duck president. I didn't see that with George Bush. I know that was framed back in 2004. What are your thoughts on that? Like, I think you've got to take what he did in the last 4 years and extrapolate it, and rather not try to read into some other, apocalyptic scenario that you want to think about. But what are your thoughts?
That Trump would be worse in the next 4 years?
Yeah, because he's gonna be a lame duck. He's gonna become a complete Nazi or whatever, as they try to frame it.
I don't know, man. I think that if it was the issue of him becoming a Nazi and the brown shirts and all that kind of stuff, the pandemic would have been the perfect perfect time for that. It would have been the perfect time. Say that again.
They're talking about. I mean, I'm talking to some of my friends. They're like, "Oh yeah, Stephen Miller's got this plan now for concentration camps. So all we need is another Paris happening in America."
So
and then
why didn't it happen? I mean, to me, the pandemic would have been the perfect impetus for that. All of these states were absolving themselves of their own leadership responsibilities and putting it on the federal government. So why didn't they do that? I don't think that I don't think that Trump was competent enough to even think that far. I mean, just to be honest with you. And then secondly, I really wouldn't be able to say what would happen in the second 4 years, because the guy really is kind of a loose cannon in that sense. Would there be a move away from globalism and neoliberalism? Yeah, I definitely believe so, especially now with the Senate and the Supreme Court. If the White House remains Republican, you're going to see some things that are going to really be upsetting to people. But in the long frame of things, is that going to be as detrimental as we like it? I mean, people are allowed. Like, I had a friend the other week actually. Somebody said, "Well, what about all of the racism?" He said, "Hey, man, America's been racist, but I've got to feed my family." So I think a lot of people really are more concerned about the bread and butter issues than they are and I mean that across the board, of all races and all socioeconomic levels. They're more concerned about the bread and butter issues than they are about some of the more pet political issues. But as far as the next 4 years go, man, I mean, it's really anybody's game, because he just doesn't seem to be I'm just. I mean, it's not like Biden would be any better. I mean, going into a new presidency with two people in their 80s is just not appealing to me whatsoever. But
Joe, call
Yeah.
me crazy, but I don't believe even if every single Supreme Court justice was a conservative, that there would be a reversal of Roe versus Wade and the other, conservative position.
wholesale reversal, maybe not, but maybe there would be some type of modification.
Maybe a
Absolutely.
modification, but yeah, not a reversal, and that's because the way liberal democracies are structured in the way that they don't reverse back, they don't scale back in their way. It's always, at least I have not seen any precedents of any laws that are bent or going back towards conservatism. If you understand what I'm saying, there you don't see anything going back toward traditional moral values.
I mean, if you look at,
Fine.
if you look at, wait, hold on. If you look at what he's doing with like LGBTQ in the military, there's definitely a kind of reversal of what was before. I mean, he did kind of make some clear distinctions between what you can do in service-wise, in combat. He did kind of roll back. I mean, if you go look at
clarifying the positions, just
huh?
He just they just organized the different.
No, because Trump made it. I mean, Obama made it okay for them to get involved with combat, and he wants to take that away from that. Like he wants to move them off. He views that things like of certain medical rights they would get as veterans or as being in service. He doesn't want to give that to them. As far as like gender reassignment surgery, things like that, he doesn't want to give that to them. And whereas, like, I mean, people who are on the left see that as a reversal of what Obama did. Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. It's not a law, but things are not always laws or policy that get put into place that people are afraid of that get reversed. Right. But I think the bigger thing is
those are still details within the position, though. The position in that women can still serve in the army has not been reversed. It's just the details surrounding LGBT in the armed forces.
Yeah, but this is not about women. It was about LGBTQ specifically.
I'm sorry,
about them, not about women. Right. Yeah. So, but the role of what they can do in the military has been reversed.
They still can fight. They just can't get gender reassignment surgery off of.
Well, they put tougher things on their mental examination. Like he a lot of, I'm like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, if you look at it, just go. I don't want to get into the whole details right now, but if you go look at what the LGBT community talks about when Donald Trump, there's like major things he's done in the military towards them.
That's even if you're right.
Look at Samuel Masters' comment.
Yeah, that's it. Wait, as a returning constitutional executive role will be from the ground up a cultural shift. Yeah, I mean that's, I mean pretty crazy. But I mean, look, here's what I think people are also forgetting real quickly, and I think people are kind of lost sight of this. Don't forget, there's like a 75% chance that the Senate goes into the hands of the Democrats right now. I mean, people are not really following the Democratic, the congressional races right now. But it looks like that the Republicans might lose the Senate. And now if that happens, that causes that kind of balance. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching it. They're saying that the Republicans might lose the Senate, the majority at least. So I don't know how they're coming up with the numbers, but apparently internally, even within the Trump administration, they're getting really worried about the Senate races because there are 5 seats that are up.
McConnell won, Graham won. Who else?
But there were other 5 seats that were...
In Maine, she won.
I think there were 5 people that announced they weren't running again. So it's not the ones who are existing. Okay. There were 5 open seats that were open completely, that they were retiring back down. So those seats are the ones that they're worried about because they might lose the majority there. In that sense, because those races were tight. The original ones that are sitting there, they're going to hold it down because they're from, these are the OGs of the Republican Party, like the establishment. They're going to hold it down. Yeah, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, people like that, Saul. I mean, there's a bunch of them that are there. But anyways, I think regardless, though, is that even if you do see a complete conservative, like Senate, House, the Supreme Court, I personally believe this. I think in 2024, I believe this from the beginning. I thought that Trump would win this. But in 2024, you're going to see the most liberal government America has ever seen. And I think it'll be a reaction to what happened now, just like I believe Trump is a reaction to what Obama was. And I believe that it'll just push it even really far left because think about this. the Democratic Party before 2016 was never talking about things like, I mean, on a major front about free healthcare or free education, or like they never really embraced these ideas so publicly and boldly. And that only happened after Bernie Sanders really took the stage and he influenced the direction of the Democratic Party. And I think that that's going to continue onward. Like, I think that's
you're right.
I just,
you're right, but the problem is the Democratic Party leadership who castigated or ostracized Bernie Sanders and pushed forward Biden as their establishment candidate, and they did. I mean, everyone thought that, oh, you know what? If I don't vote for Hillary, the Democratic Party leadership will understand that we're sick and done, or we're tired of the establishment candidate. But instead, what they did was they dug their heels in more, and they went with the establishment candidate as Biden, and they really pushed him to the front.
right. So I think more than that though, I'm looking at the fact that like this. If you are a Republican, right, a strategist, and you're thinking like, okay, well, what after Trump, right? How are you gonna maintain that momentum? Are you gonna put a Marco Rubio? Are you gonna put a Jeb Bush? Are you gonna? I mean, who's gonna be that same fire, the same energy that Donald Trump is? Most of these candidates will not be because they're career politicians. Donald Trump could be the way he is because he doesn't rely on politics. I mean, generally, he was who he was no matter what. You know what I mean? And I don't think
the future of the Democrats is definitely going to be more like the Justice Democrats than it is the Pelosi Schumer Democrats. I mean, that generation is hanging on for dear life and is going to die soon. And then you're going to see more of the Abdullah Sayed and AOC, and that the whole Justice Democrat swath is going to have a bigger play in that party, right?
Yeah.
What that's going to mean, though, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why you have a Biden candidacy right now, right? Because it was they had a very hard choice. Do we bring in Bernie? Do we burn down our careers right now and save the country, or do we bring in somebody that I mean, in reality, in policy, there's not a big difference between Biden and Trump in policy. In image, definitely. In tone, definitely. But in policy, there's not. I mean, and it goes to show you that, I think the other day they were saying that the money raised on Wall Street alone was for Biden was greater than everything raised in the state of California.
Oh wow!
I agree. But
the markets this week are up.
Yeah, that people were saying that could be indication that Trump would win, but where do you see the Republican Party going after Trump, like post-Trump? Like, do you think they're going to have a more moderate candidate? I mean, how do you go back to somebody like Mitt Romney and I don't know, like Marco Rubio, or I mean, when you've had such a fiery candidate for the last 8 years who's been just no filter, where do they go from there? Is this a new Republican Party?
Ivanka.
But she's not like her father, though. She's not like that.
She's more polished.
She's not. But I mean, but they don't like polish. That's the whole point. Trump is not polished. That's why they liked him. I mean, polished was Marco Rubio. Polished was Ted Cruz. Polished was these people. These were polished people, right? But the problem is, you need someone who's gonna come out and be like, oh, Sleepy Joe, drain the swamp. They're crazy. I'm the best guy. Trump. The thing about Trump is he makes them feel good because he talks so authoritatively. This is possibly the best economy. This is the best. We're the best. We're winning. Like, I mean, he tells them very affirmatively and without that whole American exceptionalism. He embodies that on stage, right? Even he does a stupid little dance thing, but he's dancing to American pride, right? And people love that. You know what I mean? They love that about it. I don't picture Ted Cruz doing that. I don't picture Ivanka or Jared. I just don't see that.
Yeah.
It's a good question of what's the future of their party, because the people that were looked at as being kind of the youthful up and coming stars, like Justin Amish out of California, he left the Republican Party now, so where where within the political apparatus do they have another generation, comparable to the Justice Democrats? I don't know. I don't follow the Republican Party that closely to even know. Maybe you guys do, but I mean, it's not like we've always had these two political parties, and maybe another party will arise. Who knows? I mean, how bad does it have to get based on previous, instances of changes of party to switch from the Whigs to the Republicans or whatever. I don't know.
Right. I mean, like I think me and Sim were talking about this. Maybe there might be a third part. Maybe it might be the time for a third party breakout. Like maybe a serious consideration for a third party, because maybe you might get like the moderates in the center guys on both sides and be like, hey, look, both of our parties have gone crazy to the right and left. We're just gonna come down to the middle and let's just make our own party. And be like, hey, we need to come back to the kind of middle politics.
Which corporations are going to sponsor them, though?
Yeah, exactly.
That is the question. Does anyone actually believe in the Civil War type of rhetoric that's being spewed all over social media?
I think we might see pockets of it, but this massive, pick up your arms, militiamen, like we're gonna, burn down the country. No, you might see pockets of riots here from BLM and T4, maybe even some Boogaloo people, whatever. Who cares, militia? But I think in general, look, most people want to live. They want to work. They want to go to school. They want to eat. They want to make money, right? Yeah,
you're stopping people from making money and feeding their families, and not having a roof over their head. That's when revolutions or civil wars happen.
But Sim, sorry to cut you off. There's something, because I'm going to lose my train of thought. I've been thinking about asking you guys this for a while. But look, before Obama became president, there were all these militias down south that were all having infighting amongst each other, right? When Obama became president, right, they kind of started uniting, right? And I think Vice came out with a documentary about this too, right? But there's a whole lot of militias down south where I personally think that if any damage really happens, it's going to be down south. Like more, I understand the whole pocket, but I don't think we can take the militias down south we can't underestimate.
Listen, Sheikh Amr, wait, let me ask you something. Do you think the FBI and the CIA don't monitor these people?
No, I don't think
that. Right. So
and most of the militia movement's been up in north. I mean, Michigan is a prime example.
Yeah. And so let me just give you one example too. Every time one of these militia people, first of all, many of them are not too bright. They're pretty stupid for the most part, right? The leadership of them.
They are pretty dumb.
Listen, let me give you an example, Amr. Wait, hold on. Wait, Amr.
Talking about well-trained
wait, hold on. Even the well-trained one, they're stupid. The most part, they're pretty stupid. I mean, as far as organization and doing things. If you just go look at Obama, I mean, and how many times the militias tried to assassinate him. The stupid things they did, like they wanted to run through Washington, D.C. with the X-ray gun. Like, I mean, they come up with dumb things like this, and the FBI always uncovers this. Wait, 1 second, let me finish. Like the Wolverine, Michigan thing, right? They had a Facebook Live meeting about how to recruit people, bro. I mean, you have to understand that these people are not. Wait, hold on. Wait. Let me just finish my point, and I'll tell you. Let me just finish my point. Wait, Amr. Wait 1 second. The FBI has informants in a lot of these militias. When something is about to pop off, they already know about this stuff. Like, they really already know about it. I'm not worried about them, dude.
Listen, what you're talking about is offshoot individuals, that small, tiny factions of militias that do something. I'm talking about as an effort of a whole bunch of militias that kind of get together. What you're talking about is, offshoot individuals.
You're talking about a coordinated effort between many different militias to do something.
What is there a possibility that they can definitely unite and do some damage? I personally think they can.
No.
I mean, bro, I think
I'm talking about against the government. I'm not talking about against the person.
No, it could, but I'm saying, I don't know what is the option? I mean, dude, the government has drones, and like, I mean, they it wouldn't even be a question of like, I mean, they would look.
I never wait. Good fight.
Wait, Amr. Let me tell you
something. So there's two things. There's two things here. Number one is, I think we're overestimating some of the reach of those groups, given that the specter of living in the South. Living in the South is not as bad as people make it out to be, and especially in places like Texas. I can tell you, after the first election, even some of the reports of bigotry or attacks, a lot of times those were contrived and were not real whatsoever.
You know who did that, Joe?
Yeah,
Vice News.
And huh?
Vice News really did that. They really played up all these militias all across Texas, and that it's just a matter of time before these militias end up taking over or start civil war.
They started the fear factor. He's saying Vice was highlighting that stuff and creating the fear around them.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Number one is I think that it's way too hyped up, and then number two is a lot of the same people are also involved in law enforcement and in the military, and things have not become so skewed where they would feel that they had to go and mount some type of offense against their own country, and so I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think the country is that. I don't think the country is that polarized, and I do believe that there's enough people that might even be, there might even be white supremacists. They might even be diehard Trump supporters, but they still believe in the supremacy of their government over, some type of faction. So I just don't see that scenario as being realistic.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, I've been like, I go to like, websites like, I don't want to name them all, but they're all right-wing websites where they have militias that go and talk about stuff, and I read what the stuff they say. Like I read what they say, and they're pretty dumb. Like I mean, when they talk about doing something, I mean, I'm sure there's smart people among them, like they organize, but most of what they do is they do drills on the weekend. Like we're going to put on our suits and we're going to go out hunting and we're going to do like a prepper drill. I mean, they're not really going to go out and like do this stuff right now. There are a few crazy people, yes. But in general, I believe the CIA and the FBI had good tabs on these people. Like the ones, when they have good information, they take action and they stop a lot of this happening. I mean, as much as Muslims may not like the intelligence agencies, they've done a pretty good job, especially with white supremacy or any kind of radical group in America. They've done a pretty good job at stopping the attacks before they happen. It's been, so I wouldn't really worry about that. And, the whole idea of states seceding from the union, these things would never happen, bro. It wouldn't even happen.
And you know what? When I see like intelligent people talking about this stuff, it just makes me wonder, like, who's that one guy who wears the beanie all the time? Oh my god,
beanie?
Yeah, he's a big time reporter. Yeah, Poole, Tim Poole.
Oh, yeah, Tim Poole. Yes,
Poole, man. Oh my god, he's always talking about this.
He's on the left, and then now he's like he's on Joe Rogan all the time.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And he's completely, we had bought this idea that we're on the verge of civil war. I'm like, man, you don't know anything. Yes, he has some great ideas and some great analysis, but in terms of when he comes up with a conclusion like that, I'm like, I just lost all respect for you. I don't even know how you end up coming up with these type of conclusion. Maybe what happens? I'll make an excuse for them. Sometimes some people get caught up in their echo chambers, and they get caught up in the circles of certain viewers and listeners, and they have their own kind of platform who just keep on feeding into a certain narrative that they're kind of forming in their mind, and then maybe that's how someone who sounds intelligent and at least is very well researched comes up with a silly conclusion like, "Oh, we're on the verge of civil war," and it really bothers me.
Yeah, I mean, you know what though? Honestly, I think it's partly because the media has so much doom and gloom. Oh my God, they hate you. This is burning down. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. I mean, everyone, the media cycles, like they have to show you all the negative. Yeah. And so eventually that negativity is going to weigh down on you. Yeah. You're going to think like, oh my God, I got to get a gun. Oh my God, BLM going to come out my house and just loot me tomorrow. Like, I mean, you're just paranoid wherever you go. And I guess for me, the reason why I'm not like that is because I'm not a paranoid person. Like, I just don't feel like I'm an optimist by nature. I don't even feel like I'm worried about it. Like, hey, bro, if it happens, it happens. Qadarullah ma sha. What can you do about it, right? No matter what, it's kind of whatever. I mean, I'm not. I mean, the thing is, like, I guess I don't know. I mean, I've been through cycles of elections so far in America. I've been following like the right and the left so much that you see this is a cycle every 4 years. Like it builds up and then after election day, it all just goes, poof, it deflates, and then it builds back up in the next 4 years. It's not like I just can't see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just can't imagine it happening, Amir.
Yeah, I personally don't think there's going to be a civil war, but I think that if the wrong people, just get together and have some crazy thoughts, that there's definitely, there can definitely be some, bad events that occur, that can affect people in that area. I definitely think that's a possibility.
Yeah, but check this out. Okay, I mean, we live in Chicago, right? I mean, if you go, I'll give you an example. What you're talking about is like when people who are not from Chicago think that wherever you walk around Chicago, you're gonna get shot.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just not the case, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
people think about Texas.
Yeah, I mean, and like, yeah, exactly. They think, oh my God, there's white racist people everywhere who are just gonna call you a, Muzzy and a sand Negro. I mean, they think it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, I think there's you take things with a grain of salt, right? We're all human beings. At the end of the day, we share a lot in common, right? Meaning that most people want to protect their family, they want to work, make money, they want to live a stable life, right? This is what most Americans want to do, right? Most Americans don't want to see chaos and like a civil war in the middle of their homes, right? They don't want to see this. So just think about it from think about your regular coworkers, your people that you work with or you go to school with, right? Could you imagine them just like going off in an all-out civil war? Not really gonna happen. I just don't see it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But anyway, how are we looking with the election right now? Anyone keeping up? It looks like Biden got some more. It looks like Biden's gonna win like
209,
Utah.
Trump at 118.
Or Arizona. I'm sorry, not Utah.
New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado. Those are he was expected to win those. Everything.
No, there was one. There was. Yeah.
What was the number, Sheikh Ahmed?
Hold on. I think
209 is
209 for Biden, 118 for Trump, 211 remaining between the two. Basically.
Well, you need 270 to win. Yeah, but the state that he needs to win, he's not. It's going to be very difficult for Biden to win. Like, okay, he lost. He's probably losing Florida. Georgia, he's probably. I mean, we know he's going to lose, but Iowa,
Ohio.
Let me see. Michigan is important. Michigan is important. Ohio. Well, not. I think Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin are going to be important for him to win the election, and Minnesota. He needs that typical blue.
He looks to be trailing in each one of those states.
Yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania has 54% reporting and is 41.4% and 56% to Trump. So Trump is up by 500,000 votes in Pennsylvania, but only half counted so far. Wisconsin.
We've been watching these maps for a number of years for every presidential election.
Yep.
When these are light pink, they end up turning red pink or light blue. They end up turning dark blue or whatever, meaning they end up giving those electoral votes. I've hardly ever seen, I'm sure there's exceptions here and there, but majority of the situation, they end up saying that the same way as the initial polling numbers come in, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? People always.
I'm sorry, guys. When I laugh, sometimes I'm not laughing at you guys necessarily.
You're reading the comments, right? Yeah. I saw the one that you're laughing at. And I don't want to highlight it because it's too much of a dig at somebody, so I don't want to highlight that one. But yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, no, but the thing is, to be honest, people are always like, "Oh, polls are fake. Polls are fake. Polls are not fake." All right, polls are pretty real. I mean, meaning that there's science behind it, but it's the important thing is when the poll is taken. Like what? For example, if you look at the polls going up to the election day of 2016 with Hillary and Trump, the polls were pretty accurate. Meaning that they predicted a plus minus 3% either way margin of error for Trump or Hillary Clinton. And Trump won by 70,000 some odd votes, which is in the plus margin of 3%. So if you're talking about a poll that was done last year, that's not relevant to now because that was in that moment, right? So in that moment, if an election were to happen in that moment right then and there, it would be hold on, let me just put him on mute. Yeah, if it happened in that moment there, then that means it would have been that's how the outcome would have been. But that's not the case. So again, we need to look at the follow the exit polls and see what's going on, and there's still a lot of counting to be done. So I wouldn't.
They won't know tonight. They probably won't know tonight, right? It's gonna be
at least in most of the swing states, they won't know tonight. I mean, Ohio.
What's happening with these mail-in stuff? That's what's confusing me. Like when did they get counted?
So they get counted now, but the thing is that they have to have. There's been some issues. For example, there's some mail-in votes in Wisconsin that had some error in and they brought the National Guard in to help them rewrite some of the ballots in because of it won't transfer on the recording sheet. So there are certain things like this that will determine how much longer it's going to take. So that's what I'm trying to say. That that. Oops, hold on here. Yeah, that essentially that it can take time for counting up. It could be like 2 or 3 days. It could be a week. And then don't forget if they're close enough, people can do recounts, right? Counties will do recounts if the margin is close enough. So it could take a week. It could be until December. We don't know, but I mean, we'll have a good idea.
I don't think it's going to be close. From what we're seeing right now, it looks like a Trump victory.
I mean, I've been saying I had Firasa.
Are you looking at the map? At least from what the map looks like on Google, it's all pink everywhere.
Yeah.
All the battleground states.
I got a local election showing up here in my.
Yeah. I mean, again, they're leaning pink, and that could mean. I mean, right now we're looking at Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia. These are all leaning pink.
New Mexico isn't that usually a red state?
No, New Mexico is usually blue, but Arizona is usually a red state, which is interesting. It's turning blue. Arizona is usually a red state.
What site? What site are you guys looking at?
Right, Google.
So I'm just on Google right now.
Google.
If you type in live election updates, you can just see the Google map that's just pulling out from this. It's from the Associated Press.
Election 2020, and you'll see this map that the little.
Yeah, the Associated Press has but yeah, I mean, but by the way, I don't think any news agency has called the race yet. Like they're still waiting. There's still a lot of. I mean, in some states you still have half the ballots that haven't been counted yet. So I think we're still early.
They just announced locally. So we had one of the seats for Senate here was being run by a guy who was a former law enforcement officer, and he was being challenged by this guy of mixed Indian American descent, who they found out later was being funded by RSS.
Is that streetcar Carney?
Really? Yeah, it got to be really dirty in the end. It was like over the last 2-3 days, all of the news stories were about like the Indian vote and the proxies for the Indian vote, and I was completely out of because I have no idea about that stuff, but it was fascinating to me. But apparently,
I mean,
Troy Nels won. So
well, just so you know, like those same Indians, like the RSS, whatever those parties, they're the same ones that elected Modi from America because the money they poured into India, the BJP party, they got him elected, and these are the ones that are very hardcore Hindutva, like they believe that India should be just only for Hindus and nobody else. Like they've targeted Christians, other lower sects of Hinduism and Muslims. Like they're pretty extreme in India. Like, I mean, I don't know about here, but it makes sense why a lot of them would support. A lot of them are Trump supporters. Like, if you notice that Trump went over there for a big, huge MAGA rally with the Prime Minister of India over there, and he's like, we love our Trump.
They brought him here to Houston.
Yeah.
No, they brought him here to Houston.
They brought
Modi Energy Stadium.
Yeah, Modi.
That's
Houston,
what I mean.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, Modi and Trump came and visited Houston together, in his tour, and they were going crazy over him. So we have Andalusian Project. It seems so far Trump will win, but we'll see. I'm somewhat not surprised because we were definitely in a post-truth world. But it's disappointing to see how apathetic and stupid people are becoming. I guess. I mean, I had a feeling that Trump was going to win too. I feel like he had it in the bag. Another thing that I was noticing, just look at the MAGA rallies, dude. There's 25,000, 30,000 people, 50,000 people. That is huge. And there's not as much excitement around Joe Biden.
And it comes with free healthcare as well because they're forced to walk home at night.
And I mean, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it too early to pat ourselves on the back because we were, no matter what the polling data was, saying this was the only podcast, at least that I know of, that was saying Trump is going to win?
I've been saying it. I told you guys. Oh, Amr was doubting me. Like, how how's he gonna win? I'm like, yeah, he's gonna win, bro.
No, he wasn't doubting you.
I thought he did.
No, he was saying Trump
in private. That was maybe. That was maybe in private.
Guys, I gotta give a shout out to Anas Fatani. Anas Fatani, salam, brother. It's good to see you. I never thought I'd see you on this platform, but
Fatani, what does that mean? Is that from the famous clan of Fatan?
no, it's not. Pakistani dude, bro.
Hey, so y'all raised an interesting point. So I interviewed a gentleman by the name of Steve Kuckler on my own channel. He's a Republican Party chairman in Central Ohio. And the big point was this. He's like, there's no energy around Joe Biden. So it's like the Democrat, I mean, I think this is a referendum on the DNC. I mean, I don't know if this will change it. I think Joe's right that you're going to have to let them die off because I don't think they're in it to actually change. It's like they just want to stay in power as long as possible, and you got to let them die off.
You're right.
Both
you guys are right.
But there was no energy around Joe Biden because I remember during the primaries, I met people who like were for Mayor Pete. They were for Andrew Yang. They were for Bernie. Even Elizabeth Warren, right? No, I don't think I met a single person that's anecdotal, but that was for Joe Biden.
No, I mean, just look at Bernie had like young supporters that were energetic out there rallying, and like they were like out there in the streets, like and honestly, like yeah, fine, maybe he might have been radical, but for if the Democrats wanted to make momentum or make noise, Bernie was probably the way to go. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, like he was gaining the momentum in the party. And the fact that in my honest opinion, they should have learned from that first time around. When you dumped Bernie and went with Hillary Clinton, you saw how that damaged your election chance, right? And you did the same mistake again in 2020. You deserve to lose. I'm sorry, like
I think what's worse is that everything that they said about Bernie not being fit for the position because of his age, because of his health. All of that is true about Biden as a candidate as well. And in fact, we were talking about the McConnell race earlier, but their challenger who out fundraised him lost, McGrath. In the Democratic challenge, there was a more progressive candidate, more of like the Justice Dems guy named Charles Booker. Charles Booker lost to her because establishment Democrats chose her. So it's very much a failure of leadership.
And you know what's also another interesting thing? Democrats can be nasty. And like in California, there was Nancy Pelosi was the incumbent, right? She was running over there. There was a Muslim guy that was running against her. And apparently, like, the Democrat Party started like this. I mean, Nancy's party started like this anti-Islamic kind of rhetoric thing against the Muslim guy running against Nancy Pelosi in her district. And it was like,
what was his name? Like Sajid or Irfan or something like that?
Yeah, something like, I forgot his name, but like they started using, like, not directly, but they started using some of this, like the common, the stereotypes against maybe the immigrant type, whatever it may be, right? And that really caused a halt to his campaign. But that went to show me that the Democrats really aren't much different when you put them up against the wall. Like, they're not really going to change. And I think that's what happened here with Bernie. They're saying, oh, he's too old, he's too socialist, he's this, right? But come on, dude, Biden was stumbling over words. He didn't know whether he was running for Senate or for president. He didn't know whether he was running against Bush or if he's running against Trump. He was talking about his hair being like curly on his legs and children jump on his lap. And he's incoherent, dude. Like, he has dementia, bro. And it's honestly, if anyone should be ashamed, it should be his family. You're going to let a demented man like this who's suffering clearly run for office right now? I mean, come on, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to say. I mean, they have no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah,
I agree.
Shahid Buttar.
Yeah, so I mean,
no, that's Sajid Tarar.
No, Sajid Tarar was the RNC. He's Trump's guy.
Oh. Yeah, he's the kingpin.
Shahid Buttar. I don't know how to say the last name.
Oh, Buttar? Shahid Buttar, maybe.
Buttar.
Yes.
Butter?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Buttar. No, he had the same last name as the COVID conspiracy doctor, Dr.
I can't
Buttar.
believe it's not Buttar.
Mr. Budafika.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys remember Budafika?
I remember that.
One thing that
yeah.
I think is clear. One thing that I think is clear is depending upon a Biden versus a Trump White House, is foreign policy is going to change drastically,
Oh yeah.
and it's not going to be good.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
I mean,
What's actually going to change?
I mean, the Obama administration was notoriously friendly towards Iran, and that's probably, they were notoriously friendly to China. That's going to probably go back to that status quo. They were much more globalist, whereas the Trump administration favors binary trade agreements, and that just changes the whole dynamic.
Well, what I read, at least related to China, was that even a Democratic president was going to instate or put in place measures that curbs China's growth, and may not necessarily have gone into a full-scale trade war with China, but may have, done enough to take on China, at least in a less vocal way. And I think there are certain positions in or some hawks in Congress on the Republican side who want who feel that China has kind of been left unchecked, and their global influence and global power reach has not been checked by the United States because of their growing influence in the South China Sea.
Yeah.
Their increasing war games that they're playing in and around that region where the United States wants to maintain influence and wants to seek domination in their backyard. So they felt like the Democrat presidents of the past have not done enough in making sure that China knows its place, that they're kind of set.
Who feels that they haven't?
I
The
think
rest
that
of Southeast Asia?
The hawks and the Republican hawks right now that are advising the president to engage China in a trade war, they feel like they haven't flexed their muscle enough so that China knows its place in the world, and they shouldn't have the audacity to challenge the United States in the South China Sea, where the United States are really just trying to make sure that their influence and domination is asserted. What happened to Morty?
Probably went to go take a leak.
Okay. I'm glad you're so candid about.
Well,
Hey, what else would he work?
So
lights back.
CBS has it as 187 Biden, 111 Trump.
Ooh. Okay.
So if he gets like Pennsylvania, he could, but there's still so much left.
They said he has to run. He has to win all the battleground states. He has to win Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan. But
Michigan hasn't been called yet.
Yeah.
I spoke to. I'm texting a friend of mine from Michigan. He's like involved in their politics. He's like, they probably won't know till tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But if there's just a handful of, if even either candidate is like 5 points ahead tomorrow, that's still large enough for a margin of error to be overcome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we haven't seen
89% in Ohio is called for Trump.
Ooh.
That's the CBS projection.
Pennsylvania, where are you?
Because Obama won Ohio in both 08 and 12.
The question is why? Why did he win it?
I think Obama was one of those figures who energized the country. He just, and I don't think the way the left really divided the country I think the country was much more together at that point.
I think the question we have to ask is, how is it that battleground states that voted predominantly for Obama in both of his elections, how did they go on to vote for Trump? I think it's because most working class people are willing to give a chance to the person that tells them that he can get them their jobs, that he can keep their jobs for them.
Yeah, you gotta look at right. I think you look at the candidacy. So, if you look at who did Obama run against, like I felt like Romney just seemed too elitist for them, too, right? In 2012. Plus, I was in the steel industry for most of my career until recently, and like the steel workers' jobs, like Mort mentioned at the beginning of the stream about like, the president's actions don't really affect us. I would say that I've said it before, Trump's policies on his tariffs really positively affected me as far as like straight cash in my wallet, if you know what I'm saying.
Really?
Because of the So I was talking to some of the guys in Houston today or the other day, and they were like, "Well, we had to pay more because we had to pay more for steel." But I was in steel, so our steel prices were at record highs, and so we had the like I saw bonuses in 2018 that I had never even come close to seeing any other year, and I was in the industry for over 12 years.
Wow.
So.
Well, I for some reason I ended up paying more taxes.
Share the wealth, man. We're all Democrats here. You need to pay up.
We got laid off. You know what I mean? So
and now I'm making COVID tests.
I think he fed us pizza like a total of once in the whole year.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but did you guys get more back on your taxes? I mean, I know people were saying they would. I actually didn't. I actually paid a little more. I don't know how that worked out, but I paid more. I don't know how that worked, but I don't know.
I had to pay more.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm gonna jump off so I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah.
So I can go to work tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I think
we forgot about that.
We'll call this a wrap. We're at 2 hours now. We'll revisit this tomorrow, I guess. I think we'll have like a follow-up episode. Maybe we join.
Yeah, we could do that
in the chat and see if he's free.
Whatever's going on. Yeah. Joe, any final thoughts?
Me? Yeah. I mean, like I said, worry about what you can control. Don't let the doom and gloom get you from either side. Tomorrow, the world is going to continue moving. So just keep moving with it.
Yeah, as long as you can make money, there's no reason to get upset about anything.
Take advantage of the Trump economy, baby.
At the end
just
of the
roll
day,
with the mega train.
I don't know about all that, but okay.
I'm not. No comment.
Hey, I'll be honest. If I can make money, I'm gonna make money, bro. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, right? Because at the end, I think this goes back to my previous comment early in the beginning. They were talking about. Economic and financial freedom is probably the most important step you can make in America. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I'm not talking about spirituality here or anything, but as an American, as someone who lives in this country, money talks, right? So the more influential you become through financial gains, the more influence you can have over politics in your local area and even nationally. So I would say if the silver lining is, hey, if it is Trump and he is opening business for you guys, deregulating things, take advantage of that. Find a way so you become more self-sustaining. Find a way that you're less dependent on other people, right? Find a silver lining. Allah makes a way for anybody no matter what the situation is. So try to find that silver lining for you and utilize it. I'm not saying you have to embrace Trump and love him or anything, but there are some positives that are there and try to take advantage of those. It's already there, right? So take advantage of it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Help us out on patreon.com/themadrumlukes. Alternatively, you can help us out through PayPal, themadrumlukes.com/donate. Make sure you click on like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section below and let us know what you thought about today's episode. And we'll see you all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed Qasim. Love you, brother.
Alaikum assalam.
Salam, Brock.
Assalamu alaikum.
All right,